A ghost attacked her. The evidence is shocking. What if the bruises on your arms came from hands you never saw? Seriously, imagine that. Jackie Hernandez didn't believe in ghosts. Not until the night something in her San Pedro bungalow tried to hang her friend from the attic rafters. She was a single mom, no history of hallucinations, yet she ended up with photos, tapes, and a room full of witnesses who swear the same entity kept coming back for more. Stick around. The evidence is hard to watch and even harder to explain away. Normal before the noise. Jackie moved into that small stucco house on West 6th Street in November 1988, her baby on her hip, rent money saved from double shifts at a local diner. Neighbors remember her waving hello, planting daisies along the chain-link fence, basically living the textbook California dream on a shoestring. Nights were quiet, kids slept soundly, and the only odd detail was the previous tenant leaving in a real hurry, like a fire drill with boxes still packed and their security deposit forfeited. Jackie figured their loss was her gain. That changed fast. Within a week, she started smelling river water in the hallway, bizarre since the Pacific was half a mile away. Then came a violet mist, drifting right through a locked window. It felt less like a house and more like a sleeping giant starting to roll over in its sleep. First contact. One dusk, while folding laundry, Jackie saw him. An old man in denim suspenders, standing right at the threshold of her children's room. Gray skin, glowing eyes, a dead stare. She screamed. He vanished. And then every single toy on the shelf spun to face the doorway like soldiers snapping to attention. Her 3-year-old later pointed to that same corner and, in an innocent voice, said, "Grandpa's sad." They had no grandpa alive. This wasn't just Jackie's experience either. Babysitter Rosa Sanchez corroborates the story. She quit the next morning after the kettle launched itself across the kitchen like a cannonball, denting the fridge. Word travels fast on a mom block. Strange house, keep your kids away. Evidence file. Enter Dr. Barry Taff, a UCLA-affiliated parapsychologist who had documented another famous entity case back in 1974. Jackie phoned him after local cops just shrugged, blaming old wiring. Taff arrived with cameraman Jeff Wheatcraft and sound tech Barry Conrad, not as believers, but as exterminators for the mind. There to either prove a pest existed or show it was just creaks in the floorboards. Over 8 visits, they logged an astonishing amount of activity. Objects flying, disembodied moans, and temperature drops so sudden it was like opening a freezer door in the attic. But the crown jewel is a 1989 8mm frame. It shows Jeff's camera strap levitate, coil like a serpent, and tighten around his neck until his feet actually leave the crate he was standing on. You can hear cartilage creak. The footage is raw, no special effects, just a man almost garroted by thin air. The photographs, still images matter too, and these are chilling. Polaroid 12 shows a gelatinous black mass hovering over Jackie's toddler bed minutes before the bedspread caught fire. The blaze scorched the mattress but miraculously spared the child. Shot 17 captures a pink eraser suspended midair, its flight path bending toward Jackie like a guided missile. Analysts at MIT reviewed the negatives in 1993 and found the film S-DNA was clean. No double exposure, no thread, no trickery. Skeptics note you can fake anything, but the chain of custody here was airtight. The camera never left Jeff's hands, and the film was developed right there on site. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Historical echo. During a Ouija session, the planchette spelled Hendrickson Bay 1930. County archives list a Norwegian sailor, Herman Hendrickson, found floating in San Pedro harbor that year, his skull fractured. The death was ruled an accident, but the board claimed he'd been murdered for insurance money. The house, it turns out, was built on land once owned by the alleged killer's family. If you buy the narrative, the ghost was like a piece of mail delivered to the wrong address, lashing out at whoever now lived on that cursed patch of ground. A truly unsettling thought. Escalation. By spring '89, the entity grew bolder. Lights flickered in Morse-style patterns spelling leave. Jackie's cordless phone shocked her, leaving a welt like a cattle prod. One neighbor, an ex-Marine, visited out of curiosity and left after a shadow figure shoved him, ripping a crucifix from his neck as if it were a paper chain. He testified on camera, his voice steady, but his eyes wide with shock. Activity peaked the night Jackie O.'s daughter was dragged 3 feet across the carpet by an invisible hand. The rug burns were photographed for the case file. That, understandably, was the breaking point. Moving is not enough. Jackie relocated to a desert trailer 200 miles north, desperate for peace. But that first night, the black mass reappeared, blocking the only exit. It was as if the haunting was untied to the address, but had latched onto her like a stray dog, following her wherever she went. The ghost wasn't in the house. It was in her life. She phoned Taff in tears. "It's inside my pulse, not the house." Poltergeists sometimes tether to a person under extreme stress, and Jackie fit the profile. A single mom with a history of trauma. But does that explain the cord around Jeff's neck? You decide. Experts split. Taff maintains the case is authentic, citing repeatable events under controlled observation. Skeptics argue for subconscious poltergeist faking, that Jackie E.'s mind was like a pressure cooker blowing its lid, faking the events as a desperate cry for help. Yet that theory hits a brick wall when you look at the force required to nearly kill Jeff Wheatcraft. Engineers who recreated the scene needed 480 pounds of instantaneous pull. That isn't just a person faking it. That's the equivalent of trying to rip a car seat belt with your bare hands. The question dangles like the noose that almost ended Jeff's life. Pause for a second. Do you think Jackie staged the whole thing? Or is there a real entity lashing out? Drop your gut reaction in the comments. I'll be reading. Jackie still lives in California, her privacy guarded. The activity reportedly faded after 1992, though she keeps a nightlight in every socket, like tiny lighthouses against a dark sea. Jeff Wheatcraft left Paranormal Media, citing PTSD from the attic attack. Dr. Taff continues to lecture, using the San Pedro footage as his most dramatic teaching tool. The bungalow changed hands twice. Both families reported minor quirks, faucets turning on, footsteps, but nothing like the hurricane of 88-89. Maybe the energy dissipated, or maybe it finally finished its business. Why it matters. This isn't just a spooky campfire tale. It's one of the few hauntings backed by medical records and physical measurements. If even a fraction of this is real, it's like finding a single impossible gear in the clockwork of the universe. It suggests the whole machine works differently than we thought. And if it's a hoax, it's a masterclass in illusion involving a dozen unconnected people over decades. Either way, the burden of proof lands squarely on us, the audience, to examine this evidence without flinching. If you want more stories where the footage is raw and the questions are uncomfortable, hit subscribe and ring the bell. YouTube's algorithm loves company. Jackie Hernandez asked a simple question in 1988. What if I am not alone in my own home? The answer left bruises, scorched bedding, and a near-fatal scar on a cameraman's throat. Photos, tapes, and witness accounts form a chain of evidence too heavy for easy dismissal. Whether you file this under demonic fury or psychological projection, one fact stays unshakable. Something attacked her, and the evidence is truly shocking. So, what's your verdict? Hoax, hallucination, or haunting?